McCarthy's going to work out of the gun. The Lions show 5 across that defensive front. McCarthy leans in on third down. He's got it. He wants to throw. McCarthy back, throws right side. It is for Naylor. It is caught. It's a first down at the 45-yard line as he beat Arthur Millette on the play. And the Lions now are going to watch that clock run, and there's nothing they can do about it with only one timeout left. And that was how this one ended. Lions fall to the Vikings by a score 27-24. Welcome to the postgame show. Dan Miller, Burchie alongside. Look, there's a lot of directions we're going to go with this, but the bottom line is they didn't play well enough to win this game. Yeah. Just offense, defense, and special teams. There were just letdowns everywhere that you can't have in the National Football League and expect to win.
We sat right here at this pregame desk about 6 hours ago, and I think all 4 of us experts picked the Lions to roll today and for their offense to have no trouble against this Flores Vikings defense, which they haven't in the past. But today, the offensive line was leaky, and by the end, it was wounded. The special teams had a couple uncharacteristic lapses. I thought J.J. McCarthy made a couple clutch plays, and maybe most troublingly, this ground game has been really non-existent for the Lions now for a few games, and especially so today. And you add all that up, Daps, and you get kind of a reality check loss to a Vikings team that is now firmly back in this NFC North race, where all 4 teams are within a game and a half of each other. So season on for sure now.
Green Bay loses today. Bears get a late victory over the Bengals, and now everybody's bunched up. Green Bay's still in first place after all that, but the Lions now tied with Chicago at 5-3. I look at this game, and we talked about something, and we're going to get to Dan Campbell's comments momentarily, before the game, that you couldn't make it easy on J.J. McCarthy. Well, when you allow them to start in plus territory 3 times, they started at the Lions 36, ended up being a touchdown drive. That was after a kickoff return. Lions 35 after a fumble recovery, ended up being a touchdown. Lions 26 after a blocked field goal attempt. That was a field goal. 17 points on drives where J.J. McCarthy got to start in Lions territory.
And that's how you make a young quarterback feel comfortable in what should be a hostile, threatening, rattling environment. And their first 2 drives, he looked pretty poised and at ease out here. And that was surprising to see, too, because it felt like this defense has been getting healthier, of course, and also stronger and stouter as the year has gone on. I was also surprised at how easily at times, especially in the first half, the Vikings ran the ball against this front. And this is a front now that has most of its pieces back. I thought the Vikings run blocking was strong today, and stronger than the Lions were against the run. And JJ did, when he needed to down the stretch, make some throws, and that ended up being the difference in the game.
Including the one you saw right there on a critical third down, where if they don't convert, they would have had to punt the ball back to the Lions. But in the end, they got what they needed. They were able to run out the clock and win this game 27-24. All right, Dan Campbell spoke with the media a short time ago. Let's get the post-game thoughts from the head coach.
All right. Credit those guys over there, man. They had a good plan, came in, they executed, made the plays they needed to, and that's credit to that team. As far as us, we did everything we needed to do to lose that game. We made every critical error you needed to at the right time to lose it. Perfect storm. When you don't play well in all 3 phases, that falls on the head coach. That's me. So I did not have them ready coming out of a bye. We weren't. We made too many critical errors, man. Some of our discipline, the penalties, caught up to us. We just, man, there were some things we were out of sync. We'd never looked comfortable. And we just didn't make enough plays. We had multiple opportunities to set ourselves up to have a chance to win that game, and we made none of them, really. So that's, I got to clean some stuff up. So, and we will. I will. We did have some guys that played pretty well, but it was just too much. The penalties, the turnovers at an opportune time really bit us there. Defense gets put in some tough spots. But there again, we expect our defense to get stops, when it's sudden change. So we just did not handle the day well. So we got to clean it up and move on. Go ahead.
Sorry about that. You knew their pressure was going to be an issue, David, I believe.
Self-induced.
Yeah, self-induced.
Oh, yeah.
5
yeah.
sacks.
Oh, yeah.
And quarterback hits 10 tackles.
Yep.
How disappointing was that aspect of that? They won the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, very, very disappointing. I mean, we knew what we were going to get going into this. We knew there'd be some wrinkles, but, I mean, there was nothing that we haven't seen before. We did not we didn't handle it. We did not handle it well. And I know we got beat on a couple of them, just physically beat on a couple that we expect not to. We expect more out of our guys. But some of it, I mean, we act like it was something exotic. It wasn't. We just didn't handle it well. We weren't on the same page. We were not on the same page.
Beyond that, the balance were an issue again. We talked about that during the
Yeah.
What level, if any, is your concern for the offense right now? Just not generating the same type of big plays that we're used to.
Yeah, I mean, I know this. It's something where, okay, man, you go into the bye and you look at a few things and then you make a couple of tweaks and you come out and you're like, ah. And we didn't finish the way that I thought we would, and I'm sure everybody. So I don't know if concern's the right word, but we got to clean it up. We got to find the right balance there to help us convert. We probably got to do a couple of things a little different, and we were doing a few things different, but we may need to change up in some areas. But offense, it takes all 11. It does, and one guy can kill you, and that's kind of what's going on right now. It's really killing us, and then it puts us in a bad way, and it kind of affects everybody around them, and then we can't get out of it. And, that's the other thing is when something bad happens, normally we can get out of some of those, man. We make a play at the right time that gets us going, man. We get the next first down. And we're just not. First of all, the fact that we had 17 third down, that's crazy. That's a high amount of third down. We need to be, our first and second down efficiency's got to be better. I'd start there. And then, yes, the third down is still an issue. But, we didn't run the ball well, 3.3 average, that ain't good enough. You can't run it, it's hard to be explosive offense. Because now you're a sitting duck. You'll sit back there and gun, and everybody knows you're passing, and they just pin their ears back, and they go after you and run all the games, and then get up there in mugs and all that good stuff. So, yeah, we got to clean some things up. But I'm not in panic mode.
All right, a lot in there. Dan Campbell talking about the pressure that the Vikings were able to put on, some breakdowns on the offensive line. Offensive line is going to be a topic here this week. Christian Mahogany. Dan Campbell also provided an update on his condition, knee injury, at best late December, possibly done for the year. Campbell said he was trying to be optimistic that wouldn't be the case, but he's going to be gone for a while. Birchie, each offensive lineman outside of Graham Glasgow required medical attention today. And obviously Mahogany didn't return, but you got to wonder if that's not something they're looking at here with the trade deadline coming up on Tuesday.
I mean, I think they have no choice but to, and we can circle back to that. But look, I was one of the people talking about how well this interior of the offensive line had played entering this game, and today they were served some notice, and we did mention that this Vikings team has three playmakers in the trenches in Hargrave and Allen and Redmond, and all three made a big impact in this game, winning one-on-ones. And take the Lions' opening drive of the second half. This is what it looks like when the interior of an offensive line struggles. On the first play, Hargrave beats Ratledge, makes a tackle for a short 2-yard gain. Second play, Allen gets past Mahogany, pressures Goff into a low throw, incomplete to St. Brown. On the third play, they try to run a screen to Gibbs, and Glasgow can't quite get to the second level to provide the block that Jameer needed to spring that first down. And over the course of 3 plays, those 3 guys are spotlighted in the wrong ways. Now, back to what you first said, Dan, the deadline is Tuesday to make a trade. And to be clear, it is exceedingly rare to see offensive linemen traded at the deadline. Over the past 22 years, I believe only 7 have been dealt in October or November. But the need to me now is clear. And if I'm Brad Holmes, I'm not. Shocked Shocker, shocking to hear. I'm not. But if I was, I would at least put a call into the Titans, who are clearly in sell mode after trading Roger McCreary last week, and ask about old friend Kevin Zeitler, who's on a one-year deal. The Lions do have the cap space in this year to bring in his contract and try and plug a hole up front, because missing Mahogany now for the next 2 months, there's a need to fortify the interior of this line, because in addition to the pass rush, which was guilty today of allowing 5 sacks of Jared Goff most of his Lions tenure, the ground game, especially up the middle, has kind of disappeared. So I do think it's incumbent on them to at least look for upgrades.
Heard a lot coming out of the bye about third down. You heard Dan Campbell say they did not handle that well today. We'll talk about that. You'll hear from quarterback Jared Goff when we come back. Postgame show rolls on. Vikings over the Lions today, 27-24. More coming up right now. All right, Lions spent a lot of time on offense during the bye week. They talked about third down being more efficient there today, 5 for 17 against Minnesota.
When you convert 5 third downs, in general, you might feel decent about that if you go 5 for 10 or 5 for 11, but when it's 5 for 17, it's glaringly inefficient. And I was just in the locker room and asked Jameson Williams if he could put his finger on maybe a common theme holding them back there, and he didn't have any early thoughts on that. But it's clear that Amon-Ra St. Brown is occupying a lot of attention for opposing defenses, and there just aren't enough receivers getting open either via execution or scheme around him, and today that was killer.
It also got behind the downsticks too many times with negative plays and or penalties, which set them up in third down and long situations, which is never easy against a defense like the Vikings. That's where they feast. Jared Goff after the game, quarterback addressed the media a short time ago.
Yeah, I thought they did a good job pass rushing. They had a good plan on defense. They always are hard to play against defensively. They do a good job over there and have a ton of respect for the way they do things. And they got after us up front a little bit and gave us some pressures we hadn't seen, and did a good job on defense.
Dan mentioned some communication struggles on the line. Just what did you see from that perspective?
A couple times. I mean, it's inexcusable, but they make it hard, and I think caused us to have a few miscommunications.
Yeah, I was talking about just the preparation coming out of the bye week. Feel like you didn't have you guys prepared. Just speak about this week. Do you feel like you guys could have done anything differently?
Yeah, I know he takes a lot of ownership in that, but I felt like we were ready to go. I felt fresh. We all felt fresh. Sure. I'm sure he'd like to do things differently, but from my perspective, we did what we were supposed to do, and we didn't play well as players. We didn't at any phase, and they did. They played better than us today, and it's been a long time since we've had this feeling of playing kind of poorly in all 3 phases, and you do that, you probably lose.
John talked about just being better on third down coming out of the bye. Still struggled a little bit today, 5 for 17. But how much better do you guys got to be on first and second downs?
Yeah, that would help, right? If we're in third and short would help, certainly. So, it starts with first and second down, but converting on those third downs keeps us on the field, allows us to get in the red zone and score more points ultimately. But it is tough sledding in 3rd and 7+, and we need to stay out of that as much as possible.
Is there much concern for the offense right now as far as it hasn't been a few weeks since you really gotten it going?
No concern. No, there's certainly an urgency of fixing things. And we did fix things, I think, from 2 weeks ago. But there's more to fix, obviously. There's a ton to fix and a ton of things to get better at. And it's a long season, and we got to get to it and fix these things.
John has mentioned that you and him have a good relationship when it comes to building plays and talking about what you like. Is next week going to be an instance where you do want to have feedback in the types of plays, the things you want rotated in, or you just want to?
I always do. I don't think next week's going to be any different. Him and I work collaboratively, and I don't believe next week would be any different.
How much of a waste is it coming out of the bye, playing at home, division opponent, chance to maybe take the division lead here?
How much of a waste?
Yeah, to not be able to take advantage of it.
I think it's just another loss. It's unfortunate. We're 5-3. It sucks. It's hard for me to speak without being upset, but it sucks. We'll move on. We'll move on to Washington and try to win that one, and hopefully we do, and we'll be ready to go. We'll respond. It's what we do best, and I think Dan said it in there. I don't know if he said it to you guys, but a little adversity at this point of the season isn't always the worst thing for you. And I can say that if you use it correctly and move forward correctly, but who knows? Maybe we look back on this moment as a turning point for us, and it'll only be that if we make it that, though.
All right, Jared Goff right there. Couple of things before we go to break.
Yeah.
10 penalties in this game. 5 sacks.
Yep.
And just way too many negative plays led to a lot of those third down and very difficult situations.
And one of the few third and longs that it looked like they were going to convert was when David Montgomery has the ball punched out from behind. And at that point, it's a 17-14 ball game. Lions have a chance to at least tie, possibly take the lead. He fumbles deep in Lions territory. Vikings take over, and unlike the Lions, convert that into an immediate touchdown. They go up by 2 scores. At that point, Lions are chasing the game. So look, Demo has been nothing but reliable and dependable and just a horse for this team for the duration of his time here. But in a 3-score game like today, plays like that obviously stand out.
Lions fall 27-24. More of our postgame show coming up live from Ford Field right after this. Lions had a chance late in this game, needed a stop on 3rd down and 6, but the Vikings needed to gain one, and they got one right here. Nice pass from McCarthy to Naylor. 1st down, ended the game, and any hopes the Lions had of a comeback victory as they fall to the Vikings by a score of 27-24. Talked a lot about the offensive line. Certainly some concern about the health of some of those guys who needed medical attention today. Taylor Decker was one of those who had to lead the game and ultimately came back in. Let's check in on him post-game this afternoon.
Taylor, give me a sense just where you think this game went so wrong for you guys up front. It seemed like they were able to push you guys around quite a bit today.
Yeah, you know, Flores is known to bring a lot of blitzes, exotic blitzes, 0 at any time. It's hard for me to say right now, but obviously that was effective. I didn't see where the breakdown was necessarily because I was, just doing my thing on the edge. But yeah, we clearly didn't execute well enough and pick up their pressures. And then we were getting behind the sticks in the run game. They had a lot of movement in the run game, gave us some difficulties, which we knew that was going to happen. We just didn't execute at a high enough level for that.
There was a lot of talk coming out of the bye, of course, about getting better on 3rd down today, 5 for 17. What's just not seeming to find itself right there right now?
Well, we were in 3rd and long a lot. We got to stay on schedule. That's going to be the biggest thing. So 1st and 2nd down is going to make 3rd down a lot more manageable. I'm sure it wasn't everyone, but it felt like we were in 3rd and 8, 9, 10 plus a lot today. And penalties factor into that too. There were some penalties. So it's going to be hard to hit your success rate that you want on 3rd downs if you're in 3rd and long all the time. You need more 3rd and mediums.
Obviously, running the ball is the bread and butter of this offense. Was it something they did to you guys that didn't allow you to kind of get in that flow early on?
I mean, I think it was a combination of they executed their game plan well, and we didn't execute ours good enough. You got to give credit to them. They played really well, especially against our run game. So then they were able to get us behind the sticks, and they were kind of able to tee off with their pressures and exotic blitzes and things like that. So, ultimately, give credit to them. I mean, they executed much, much better than us.
All right, there's the offensive line story from Taylor Decker. Let's quickly talk special teams before we go to break.
Yeah.
Big issues today. 61-yard kickoff return on the Vikings' first possession, set up a TD. And then another one on the blocked field goal in this game as well.
Yeah, and a 3-score game. Those 2 plays obviously make a huge difference. This has been a pretty well-oiled unit now under Dave Phipp for 3-4 years running, but today was certainly a culprit in this loss. And it didn't seem like the line allowed much penetration on the blocked field goal, maybe more of a miss hit by Jake Bates, but that's all under their purview of special teams coach Dave Phipp.
All right, Lions fall 27-24 to the Vikings. We will take a break, come right back. Final thoughts right after this. Can't make life easy for a young quarterback. 10 penalties for 76 yards. The Lions did make things a little bit easier on J.J. McCarthy, and he made some plays, but a couple of critical personal fouls, which were a little questionable.
Just a little.
But too many penalties.
I thought Jack Campbell had a really disruptive day rushing the passer, which was good to see, except on one of those rushes, which looked like a clean football play. He's flagged for unnecessary roughness rushing the passer. Look, if that's the right call on Jack Campbell, who in my opinion was flagged for playing football, we've gone too far in protecting the quarterback in the NFL. It didn't make a difference in the game, but wanted that to be said.
We're back at 11 with the works. Check him out. Check me out. 6 o'clock. Let's Fox 2 News as well. That's it for the postgame show. See you later.